Welcome to today's webinar about visualizations bring data to life. My name is Ana Maqueda La Fuente, and I work for many years in the team in Eurostat responsible for the creation of interactive data visualizations.
Hello and welcome. My name is Julia Uhrhausen and I work in the same team as Anna, where we are a mix of developers, graphic designers, accessibility experts, and project managers. So, maybe you have been wondering why it is important for Eurostat to provide interactive data visualization tools for you, our users.
We think that it's important to give people an intuitive and visual access to European statistics that goes beyond showing numbers in datasets. Firstly, it is easier to spot developments, trends, and comparisons when an statistical indicator is presented visually. For example, like a line chart or a bar chart. It is the first stepping stone in better understanding the data, a starting point for a quick analysis or the way of checking some facts.
Secondly, data visualizations are a great alternative for those less familiar, those who are scared of statistics and data set, and those with a lower statistical literacy. A visualization, for example, data on a map or a line chart, can act like an icebreaker and can help the people to discover and engage with the data without leaving their comfort zone. In addition, it helps them to unveil some insights and might even spark an appetite for more.
And thirdly, our tools are interactive, so you have a great deal opportunity to customize your visualization according to your needs and interest. And now we will show you how to do so.
So let's get started with the most important. Where can you find all those tools on the Eurostat website? So when you open the Eurostat website, on the very top you have a blue menu and you find as a second entry the entry level called Data. Under this you will find the page called Data Visualizations. Alternatively, you can go via the Eurostat homepage. Under our Explore Data and Tools section, we have an entry here at the end that is called Data Visualization. Once you click there, you will be landing on the page that shows all our data visualizations broadly divided into 6 themes. But well, let's get started now, as today we would like to show you 4 of those tools.
Let's start with the European Statistical Monitor, which is one of our dashboards that provides you with a general overview on developments of data on economy, environment, and social aspects. Besides the overview, the tool features 3 main topics that are accessible on the top menu. Let's now customize the tool by starting with the country selection. In this case, I will select Spain, which is my own country, and also the neighboring countries, which are Portugal and France, because I want to do a comparison. The European Union, I leave it there, but of course I can disable it just with a single click. It's very easy. Now you can see that my overview integrates my customization with the 4 countries selected. I am curious on checking on the development of prices in Europe, so I will select the indicator on inflation rate. I can do so selecting that directly from the overview or on the top menu. Here I will have my line chart. I can see exactly what is the country, the evolution of the country that I have selected, or my favorite country, for instance, here Spain or Portugal, France. I can further customize this view by adding more years, or even I can display the view in form of a bar chart. The tool provides you many more possibilities, like the option of accessing the background information about that precise indicator. You can also download your customized view in a PNG image file to add it in a document for your work or studies. access the underlying source data set, or share the customized view or the complete tool on social media or by email.
We'd like to show you another tool now, which is about asylum, or more precisely, first-time asylum applicants. This tool will show you where first-time asylum applicants went to in the EU, namely where they lodged their first-time asylum application. And to do so, for example, now I will select my country, which is Germany, and I click on Germany. As you can see, I immediately get some key information on this little info box here on the left-hand side, which shows me the total of first-time asylum applicants in Germany, and also the top 5 citizenship that applied. I can then further go on to mouse over these individual strings, which give me additional information. Each of the width of the strings symbolizes the number of asylum applicants coming from this country. As the tool is fully interactive, it also works the other way around. So let's say I'm interested now in knowing where citizens of Morocco apply to for asylum in the EU countries. So I can easily, on the other hand here, click on Morocco, and as you see, I get the strings again, and I can mouse over to get more information. I get a key information box here on the right-hand side, which shows me again the total number of asylum applicants coming from Morocco, as well as the top 5 countries where they lodged their application. Finally, if you then would like to see the underlying data, you can easily do so by scrolling to the bottom here and accessing the dataset.
Ready for a trip? Our next visualization lets you discover which airports in your country were the busiest and which destinations were the most popular. Simply select an airport from the drop-down menu or directly in the map. I will here select Paris-Charles de Gaulle Airport, which is one of the busiest airports in the European Union. The visualization will display data on the top 5 routes for that particular airport for the latest year available, in this case 2024. But of course, you can further customize the visualization by selecting other years. The visualization shows for each route the number of flights and the number of passengers carried. In addition, the visualization highlights the passengers traveling to other EU countries, to countries outside the EU, or to other airports within the same country.
Eurostat does not only provide data on countries, but also on a more detailed geographical level, namely for regions. So the last tool we'd like to show you today is called My Region, and it offers 2 possibilities. You can generate a fact sheet, or you can visually compare how your region ranks amongst other regions in Europe. So let's get started with the fact sheet generator. It is pretty simple. By default, Brussels as a region is selected. If I'd like to select another region now, I can either scroll down here on the left the list of countries and drill into the regions, or I can type my region in here. So for example, I select now Kärnten in Austria and Cologne in Germany, which is my region. You can select up to 3 regions in this tool, or 2 or less. Once I've done my region selection, I can move over to the right-hand side now, where I can select the indicators. I can select a whole block, a whole topic of indicators, for example, by selecting the topic here, population, or I can add individual ones as to my interest. Once I'm happy with the selection of indicators, I can then process to click on the download button to download a fact sheet in PDF that shows exactly the data like in my customized fact sheet. Also, I have access to all the underlying data sources again by clicking on the table icon here at the last position of the table. The second possibility this tool offers is to compare your region, how your region ranks. To do so again, I will first process to select a region. In this case, I will select Alsace in France. And for example, I will select the unemployment rate as my indicator. On the top part here, now you can see how my region, meaning Alsace in France, compares to all the other regions within the same country, France. By mousing over, you can get the exact data values for Alsace as well as for all the other regions. The bottom part shows you now how Alsace, or the selected region, compares to all the other regions in Europe. So, for example, if I'd like to see which regions have a similar unemployment rate as Alsace, I can scroll down here until I hit some regions that have a similar length of a bar chart. So, let's go here. And as you can see, I have plenty of regions that have a similar unemployment rate. As the tool is fully interactive, I can also click on any other region here to explore this region. I can even select regions interactively via the map and compare them from here. As usual, you find an access to the underlying source data sets on the left-hand side. And just like this, I've gotten an overview of how my region is doing within a few minutes.
We hope you enjoy this little tour we took you on and the examples that we have shown you. We believe that visualizations, interactive visualizations bring data to life and will be useful for your work, studies, or daily life.
We'd also like to thank you for the questions that we received. So let's get started with the first one. To ensure the graph is understandable for people with a color blindness, we reduce the reliance on color alone. We profit from the interactivity these tools offers by helping users to focus on single data points without visual noise or color dependency. For example, we use interactive legends. As you saw when Anna presented the European Statistical Monitor, it was possible to mouse over a country to highlight this line and have the other ones fade out. We also provide an alternative view, meaning as a measure for accessibility, we provide access to the underlying source datasets either in forms of table or via link that directly leads to the dataset in the Eurostat database. We run usability tests with users of the tool, where those users share their screen with us and they show us how they use the tool, for what purpose, but they also show us what works for them and what doesn't. Based on this, we can see if there are issues that we can fix to make the tool even better. In addition to that, we also run anonymous user feedback surveys, which are ongoing, like for example for our dashboards. Users can give us their feedback and reply to a short questionnaire where they can tell us what they use the tool for, what task it helps them to fulfill, and again, what works for them and what doesn't work. This gives us a good overview of if we need to improve a tool or if it is good and satisfies users' need. In addition, we receive regular user feedback on our tools via our user support services and also on social media.
You can reuse our graphics as long as you don't alter or change them and you keep Eurostat as source. We recommend you to visit our website, the section Help, where you can find more information on our copyright notice and the free reuse of data. In case of questions or doubts, feel free to contact our user support service.
For this, we can recommend you our go-to resource, which is a new dedicated section that we released on the Eurostat website. If you go to the heading level data and you move your mouse to the statistical themes and click, you will see that the first one of our special interest topics is dedicated to housing. In this website section, you can find the data and all relevant other products like visualization and publications on the topic. We can recommend an excellent resource here, which is our interactive publication on housing in Europe. This publication, which contains explanatory text but also interactive data visualizations, gives you a quick and easy overview of the topic. For example, here you will find a chart which shows you the split between those people renting their house or owning the house. In addition, you can also find a chapter on housing cost and you can see how house prices have evolved over the last years. If you're curious now to explore one of our many tools, we'll let you get started now.
Thank you for attending the first series of our mini webinars and stay tuned because there are many more to come.